We're going to welcome Sidney Graybill and Duel.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. When I first heard of 1 Million Cups, I thought it was an organization just around businesses for cups, but I found out that is not the case. So thank you guys for having me. I've been wanting to present here for weeks, if not months, so I'm glad that I finally have the opportunity. So I'm Sidney Jo Graybill. I own Dual Drinks. We stand to drink different, and our mission is sustainability and empowering our consumers of how to drink differently. How are we doing that? I am super passionate about nature. I find my peace in nature. If I'm stressed out, I go for a walk, I go camping, I disconnect. So I'm very passionate about the environment, and we have some statistics here of the 25 billion styrofoam cups that are thrown away every year, the 2.5 million plastic bottles in our ocean every hour, and consumers are wanting something to drink hot, cold, mixed drink, not carry around your hot coffee, your water, everything while working and going through your doors into the office. So how are we different? I'm hoping this video plays. Okay, awesome. So the lid comes off and you can see that we have a dual chamber where you can put your hot coffee or ice water into the cup. Or if you wanted to go golfing and put vodka in one side and cranberry juice in the other, you can choose completely your ice water, completely your hot coffee, or a ratio between both of what liquids you want to drink. And of course, on top of being so different, we have the standard of keeping your vacuum seal, food grade material, 24 ounces, same stainless steel that Yeti uses, and it fits in your car cup holder. How are we different? Even more compared to all of our competitors. Hydro Flask, Yeti, Swell, Stanley, Split Flask. No other competitor comes close to the attributes that we have on top of your two-sided liquids, double wall insulation, fusion of the two liquids, liquid temperature maintenance, and the two liquids at different temperatures. The closest one on the end that comes to our realm of product is a brand new company and a startup as well that still doesn't have the ability to fusion of two liquids. So our ground game and how we're hitting the ground running. We had our pre-launch event a few weeks ago. We sold out. It was a smashing hit. And on top of that, doing local events, farmers markets, retail stores, events like these for you guys to give us feedback, digital marketing, some more B2C with social media, influencers, Amazon, Kickstarter, and past that, partnering with promotional products like Disney, other applications that we're distributing through. We've already signed distribution channels to get ready for when we hit market in around June or July of this year. It's not just me. A lot of people seem to think it's just me behind this company, but I have a massive team. These mainly our managers here, and then on top of that, a lot of UCF interns between engineering, operations, financials, lawyers. We love our accountants, branding, marketing. Most of my career has been in Crayola and PepsiCo in drinkware, and I've had my degrees in supply chain management and my master's degree to lead this wonderful team. Into our financials, looks like our formatting got messed up here, but it's okay. We need about 150 to hit market between the tooling, the manufacturing, and the logistics. We can hit market, but in order to scale at the amount that I want to is $400K investment that we're looking for. With the 150 though, this is our growth just with the 150 investment to hit about our 900,000 sales by the end of 2026. So our goals for this year is our pre-launch that we finished, MVPs, engineering, submitting the manufacturing order by Q2, getting our distribution center finalized, our launch party, expansion into B2B, it's transitioning from our B2C market, and our national campaign gearing up for Christmas, and towards the end of the year, getting our supply chain improved, scaling, focusing more on partnerships and B2B. I want to thank you guys. If you have your cell phones, you can connect with us here with his QR code. We are doing pre-sales, and you can connect with us on our website, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I think you can probably find my number through that code as well. And send me an email, reach out. I'd love to connect with you guys. Any feedback you have, we'd appreciate it before we submit our manufacturing order the end of this month. Thank you.
All right, do we have any questions for Sidney?
Okay, two things. First, great presentation. I wish you start with a story. Somebody's gonna tell you here. Most of them gonna tell you the same, because story is something that captivates you. What is the problem that you solve to your customer? What is the issue that you fix?
Yeah, I created this just out of my problem that I had of growing up in Pennsylvania. I was always carrying my hot coffee and ice water into work, and I looked on Google, Amazon, everything. Nothing had what I wanted to have something in one cup. But before that, in college, drinking alcohol and juice, I wanted something that's in one cup as well. But I usually don't leave it that. But having the ability to mix or not mix, there's just been nothing on the market to solve that issue for myself.
And that's your story.
That's your story, absolutely.
And she's sticking to it.
Do you have patent pending on that?
Yes, we are patent pending a provisional utility, about to submit our non-provisional in the next month or two.
I would say, when you said I usually don't lead with that, I would include that in your story.
Okay.
Just make it sound like if you don't normally say it.
Yeah.
And everything, and kudos to you, wow. I wish you the best on everything.
Thank you.
Great.
I appreciate that.
This is amazing. Many people thought about that. It was a very, very, very complex problem. We are making very, very simple solution when it's all done. I will go build on that one when it apply for patent, get global protection.
The
It costs you
PCT.
some money to do this work. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Well thought out. What do you charge for these?
$59.99.
Are you marketing to consumers or to organizations? For example, like first thing I came to mind is I get a sports team on board, brand it, white label it for them, something like that, and get it out to all of the fans and start getting traction and leveraging that way a little bit faster.
For sure, yeah. We're starting B2C and pre-sales now that we have and going to market with that, but we want to transition B2B as soon as possible with promotional or white labeling. I got it.
So how have you validated this? How do you know there's a market for it?
We've surveyed one-on-one probably about 350 people with surveys between the pre-launch event, jot form that we've sent out, and on top of that, just every single event I go to, I'm speaking to someone and I have this with me. So.
I get it. My suggestion would be, there's a reason why surveys, professionally done, I mean, big time surveys, they have a population of a minimum 1,200. Because that generates a large enough population for you to be confident about the numbers that you're getting.
Yeah.
When you get in front of people face to face, they tend to want to say things to help please you and make you happy.
For sure.
So I would definitely focus on doing something like that soon, because and to echo the story part, Avatar just tells the story, right? Start up with that, and then the patent and all that. So
perfect.
And doing more customer discovery with that, and asking more questions, getting out and doing more personal face to face. You'll get so much from a survey. You will get a ton more, and I'm sure you know this from an actual conversation with somebody. But that will help you define even better your target market, and creating an avatar that you could then create your marketing around, so that you're not marketing to everybody, because everybody isn't going to buy your product. However, that guy is going to buy your product. Peter's going to buy your product. So learn everything you can about Peter and create your avatar around that.
Okay.
Could you get one for me too?
Yeah.
Your name is?
Fred's answer.
What's your name again?
Sidney Graybill.
Yes, Sidney. You look great. Okay, your attitude is great. Now, yesterday, I would have thought that your idea was very stupid. Yesterday. Today, this morning, it was cold. I had my jacket, I had my coffee, and I had my water. I was so freaking pissed off that I was like, man, this is amazing. How do I have to go through this hassle? I used to go to the gym and come back.
Yeah.
So your cup is perfect for that customer that he likes to drink coffee and water.
Yeah.
Because if you start thinking about everybody else, water, juice, if you make your customer coffee and water guy, you'll have a ton of people. And anything you hear from here, even though it might don't sound so positive, remember, is because of the fact that they haven't been through the struggle.
Yes.
Today, I'm your number one fan, so congratulations, and you're gonna do great.
Just one day.
I,
Thank you.
I actually think, so yes, but I think one of the magic bullets for you would be to find a social media influencer, like a big one, and double down on the alcohol. It's like, hey, look at this, I can dial it up or dial it down and like zoom in on that, because I don't think you even showed it, you showed me earlier, you can actually change the amount that you put from each side, right? So you can drink them both at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a super novel
That's-
thing, like you said on that chart, that's the only thing you guys have. Get someone who's, try to negotiate your way into somewhere where somebody could just say, hey, look, I'm partying and I'm turning it up. And I
Yeah.
think that's
That's
bonfire.
Yep, sorry.
Is the price point negotiable?
For wholesale, yes, but at retail, $59.99.
I think to piggyback off of what Sam said, come up with, either you could ratchet the lid,
Mm-hmm.
so you're doing certain ratios, but then have your influencer come up with drinks recipes. How many ounces of vodka should I put in versus ounces of cranberry juice, and where should I set the dial to get what would be that
That's
vodka
great.
and
That's a
cranberry?
good idea. I like that.
Josh, what's your question, and then Sean?
What's your tagline?
Drink different.
Drink different. I think this needs to be a little more fun, not
I'm open to ideas.
not so sophisticated, so like, the drink that always says yes. Hey, do you want coffee or water? Yes, or something, or have fun with it,
Okay.
because I think that's gonna catch on a lot faster. This doesn't have to be some sophisticated,
Yeah, I get feedback I'm a
Rolls-Royce
little
thing.
too proper sometimes.
All right, Sean, quickly, and then we've got two more questions back here.
Try to not make it very complicated.
Yes.
Simpler the better. I think people should like it first, then they should love it, then they should start bragging about you, then they can't live without you. Without that, you don't have business.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that can't live without you.
I like that.
Back to this slide of your competitors.
Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
This, by the way, is my favorite slide in almost all startups, where you can really show that you're,
Nope.
yeah,
Too far.
right there, that you, how you're better than your competitors. Things I hate that people make suggestions for in these pitches: one, to change your website, and two, to change your name. I'm not gonna say change your name, but see how I'm gonna grab my Yeti. See, I'm gonna grab my dual drinks, it doesn't work, right? You keep dual drinks as your company name, but maybe come up with a name. You could even have different names for different cups, but like Duality or Yeti or something where you just, I'm gonna grab this, I wanna get one of these. Like, my brother always sends Yetis to everybody, so we know it's a Yeti. But to say dual drinks it's not catchy enough to, so anyway.
Yeah.
I hate
Call it
suggestions.
schizo.
I usually just say dual. I honestly, at this point, I should just call the
Yeah, my
company
dual
dual.
or my duality.
Dooley or something?
Dually.
Dually is great.
So on each side, how many ounces is it?
12 ounces on each side. Our original prototype was a 32, 16, 16, but it was like the torch of our Statue of Liberty size, so I decided to go with this, and then we'll expand on size.
The reason why I ask is because I'm a person that drinks 2 protein drinks a day, and I go to the gym a lot. So people always have their gallon jug of water, but then they also have a separate thing to do their shake.
Yeah.
And usually shakes are only 8 ounces. I do 6, but that's really cool because I can have my water when I'm working out, and then right after I can do my recovery protein drink, or during my workouts I can put my the electrolytes, the one that gives you energy. It's another type of like protein pre-workout thing. You have your water, and then you have your kind of like Gatorade on the other side. So that's like a whole other like avenue or like idea of like this is really cool because you have all these niches. You'll be able to like go after campers, fitness people, all sorts of things. So like your social media and just who you can like, your customers will be really great.
Right. Chris, Bob, Rupert.
Yeah, two comments. First would be like, run it with the branding of like a hot cold treatment. Because hot cold treatments are very popular today in the biomedicals and the hot cold treatments. The second thing would be, is that ketone friendly? If you put a ketone drink on one side, it's going to open up your mind and help you think better, feel better, break down your mental barriers, and that could really flush out any kind of baggage you might have. Increases your circulation by 38% in 15 minutes of a slow sip. And then you've got your coffee and your, other stimulants or other drinks that you enjoy.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, Bob?
Thank you.
I'd love to see that, the cup, like ice on one side and fire on the outside, half and half. And when you get a jacket that's half flames, half fire, I'll take your pink one.
Okay, got it. Deal, Bob.
All right, Rupert? And then-
So, with regard to this competitive landscape slide, the thing, and I don't want to jump around so much, but what you should do, and what I teach my clients is I pick just the two things that set you apart from everyone else, just the two.
Okay.
And then you create a quadrant, and you have yourself way up there on the right-hand
I
side,
like that visual.
right? And everybody else is all scattered everywhere else, and they're much smaller.
Okay.
Don't throw away the slide, but.
Don't throw it away, yeah.
But yeah, there are other things,
I like that visual.
with your presentation.
And the other-
We need to move this along.
One last thing, like what I told you the other night, laser focus on a particular target market. My suggestion was golf, but.
Okay, thanks.
My question is regarding the price, because in one hand you set a price that you need to survive and have profits in your company, but in other hands you have not only the value that the customers understand of the product, but more than that, the price that I use it to pay for this kind of product. I don't know, it seems to me a little bit expensive than the other players in the market. So entering the market right now, how do you believe you deal with that? Especially because when you focus on B2C, the price is something really important and really has a heavy weight, in the decision. If you are in the B2B, it will be easier, isn't it? Because B2B, the companies can pay more to give better presents, better gifts to their customers, So in your researches, have you put this on perspective, how you identify this target?
Yeah, we've done the whole Pam Tom thing, and I understand that $60 will price out some people in the market, but our market research is based on $40,000 annually salary. And those people that will spend $60 on a cup to go drink alcohol, yeah, they might not go spend that on a book to read, but people love entertainment. At the end of the day, I'd rather enter the market too high and decrease my price than enter low and have to increase it. That's much harder.
Okay, we're gonna cut off questions now. Sidney actually has something that she has to get to. So very, very quickly, great presentation, great feedback. What can we as the Orlando 1 Million Cups chapter do for you as a community?
Yeah, I think at this point, if you guys know of any manufacturers that are no hydroforming manufacturers for the stainless steel bottom part, that's what our struggle is right now that we need help with. So if you guys know any manufacturers that can do that.
Okay. All right, that's the ask.
If you guys want any merch, I'm going to leave these hats here and some keychains in this bag if you guys want any.
Great.
Thank
And
you,
hopefully we
guys.
She get dressed up for us?
Just for us.
Expanded to bigger sizes.
Yes, that's
All right, now we're gonna invite up Sam with Tredder. Sam is returning as a previous presenter last year, so great.
Good morning. Okay, who in this room has ever been in an accident or totaled a car or knows someone who has? It's a horrible experience, right? Probably the worst experience one of the worst experiences you can have. Quick personal story. A few years back, 3-4 years back, I was coming back from lunch with my wife in Orlando. I had gotten off the 408 and onto the turnpike, and 429 people were backed up trying to get off the exit. I got in the far left lane. It had just finished raining maybe 10-15 minutes ago, and I'm doing under the speed limit in the far left lane driving, and behind a series of like 6 cars. Next thing I know, I'm hydroplaning. Right? And so no big deal. I grew up in New England. I used to do it for fun when I was a kid, like hydroplane. So I'm like, oh, you just take your foot off the gas, right? No big deal. I took my foot off the gas. Unfortunately, I was driving in a Tesla, or fortunately, however you want to think about it. But in a Tesla, when you take your foot off the gas, it automatically hits the brake. And so I went into an uncontrollable spin. I cut across 6 lanes of traffic, hit the guardrail, and got T-boned by an 18-wheeler. Thank God, I'm okay. My wife was okay. We were banged up for a while. And our kids weren't in the car. It was a very traumatic experience. I bring this up only to say the only silver lining in that experience was 2 weeks later, I got a check to go buy another car. Now, it was a horrible experience, but imagine if I had not been able to buy another car, because at the time where money was kind of tight, like what if then I wouldn't even have a vehicle to drive around in. So you all know how important insurance is. I'm just kind of bringing this to the top of mind. The difference here, what we noticed is that if you have a vehicle like this, right, if you get into an accident, say you have a Toyota Tundra, and you outfit it and you upfit it, there's a whole community of people that add on all these modifications. If you get into an accident, you're getting the money to replace this. You're not getting the money to replace this. And it's a big deal. So in a lot of situations, I don't know if any of you are familiar with overlanding or the adventure community. It's very big out west, very big in Utah and Arizona. I see a lot of vehicles in Florida, it's not as much, but it exists. This would maybe $40,000, $50,000 Tundra. This could be over 100 grand. So you'd be out $60,000, $80,000. I mean, it can add up and it gets very expensive. So the idea for Tredder is we wanted to insure these vehicles. So a quick step back about myself. I started working for Apple Computer back in 2000. I worked at Apple for 7 years. I left and then I traveled the world for a few years, had a lot of fun. I then ended up at Disney in the emerging tech group, and I worked there for 3 years working on some AI stuff. I left in 2016 to start an AI company with some people in Orlando. We created this company called Abe AI. We sold Abe AI back in 2019. We got acquired by Investnet, worked there for about a year, and then I decided to leave right before COVID. I had 2 small boys, so we spent the time kind of raising the boys, and I was working on some side projects. And I realized, what am I going to do with the next 5-10 years of my life? So back in the fall of 2022, I went on the Hacker News Y Combinator website, and I started looking for co-founders. And so I must have interviewed 80 people over 2 weeks. I talked to lots of people, a lot of FaceTime meetings, and I met a gentleman who's my current co-founder now, who is very much into the overlanding community. He told me about this opportunity and what he was looking to do. And so I decided to team up with him. So back in November, we started the company, and we brought on another co-founder. And the crux of it all is this insurance doesn't exist. Why doesn't it exist? This slide will kind of lead you through that. But most insurance companies, they're very risk averse, right? And so on these new types of channels, they're not going to dive right in. They're going to let other incumbent, other people figure it out and then go and buy them later, which is, kind of what we're hoping. But there's a market here. These are some tweets from people who are talking about insurance not having any modifications. Most insurance companies, they'll cover maybe up to $5,000 if you're lucky. Some you can push that a little higher, but it gets very expensive. So what we started doing is thinking, okay, we're going to build an insurance company. Nope. That takes a lot of money and a lot of time, especially if you want to go out nationally. So we wanted to push this out nationally. You have to go state by state, and building an insurance company, not a brokerage, but an actual carrier, or MGA is what we are in this case, is that you'd have to go state by state. It would take many years, a lot of money to kind of push it out. So we're like, how can we bring value to this community, but also start the company without having to raise millions and millions of dollars? And so the idea we came up with is we can take the aftermarket parts, the part that we really care about, the part that's not covered, and we create a company geared towards that. So the technical term of it is called excess and surplus. And we created basically a program that's not, it's not an auto program. It basically fits on top of your insurance. So if you have one of these modified vehicles, and you have all these modifications done to it, you still have to have auto insurance, but now you can get an extra policy, kind of like an umbrella or an Aflac, that will fit on top of your policy and then cover you. And so we've been focused on quality, speed, and service, building out the company. We've been raising money. So like I said, we started the company in November 2022. All last year was raising and building and iterating on the product. We decided probably around March to switch from being an auto company to being an excess and surplus supplier. And so, again, you have your traditional coverage, you have your insurance companies, so we cover the aftermarket modifications, we cover outdoor gear. We're not going out live with campsite liability, but we will eventually have like campsite liability on top of that, off-road recovery and other specialty insurances that you can add on top of. Again, we're not car insurance, just to make sure, right? So we fit on top of your auto policy. So the idea for Tredder is to land. We have a beachhead of about 8.5 million specialty 4x4s. So SEMA does a report every few years about the landscape, and so about 8.5 million people in America identify as overlanders, and they spend more than $5,000 on their vehicle. So that's our market size. We then will expand into like travel trailers, camper vans. There's other adjunct things we can go into. We want to build the Tredder brand, and then obviously scale and go globally. Let's see. So our distribution is the most important thing with starting a company. And so figuring out how we're going to get out there. So we have an amazing crack content team. David and David have grown our Instagram and our YouTube. We've got 2.2 monthly reach on social, 3 million monthly reach through partners, and we've got, this number is actually low, we're up to 10% on pre-signups on the Tredder site through different programs we've been running. We've been doing giveaways, which have worked really, really well, and we're excited when we launch next month. We're probably going to be doing some sort of giveaway in regards to that as well. Community partners, ex-Overland, there's a lot of adventure vehicle specific communities that we're partnering with for distribution, and then also brokers and agents. So the best thing about this is we're not competing with Progressive, we're not competing with Geico, we're an addition to Geico or Progressive or any of these insurance companies. So we're working with InsureMatch, Great Harbor and Liberty, and we also are talking with other insurance companies eventually to be part of the quoting process. So you go through and get quoted, hey, oh, you have a Toyota Tundra, do you do overlanding? Do you want to get coverage for that while you're getting your typical quote? And so I'm happy to announce that we have a partnership with Tokyo Marine, HEC, Tokyo Marine Kiln. They're one of the top 10 insurance companies in the world. As the name suggests, they're out of Japan. They're one of the only few A+ rated insurance companies. We started negotiating with them, or talking with them back in October of last year, and it's been a lot of due diligence going through. They're on board, so they're investing with us. They're giving us our capacity. So they're giving us $12 million in capacity for the first year, and they're also investing $500K in us, $250 in cash, $250 in kind for equity, and they're also doing the reinsurance. So we also have other partners, Howden, Equifax, and SRS, and then yes. So this is our team. Myself from Apple and Disney, David, our CEO, he's from Red Bull and Microsoft, and Jason is a longtime insurance guy. He's been doing this for 30 years. This is his 4th MGA. And we have a great team on top of that as well. And yes, so right now, again, we just brought in this money from Tokyo Marine. We've raised $375 from friends and family up to this point. It's funny, once we start making the phone calls, we say, oh, Tokyo Marine's involved, and the WIL, and they're like, oh, okay. the no's start turning into yeses. And so we're finishing out our raise here, and again, we go live in April.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start off.
okay.
You had a throwaway word
I did.
in your presentation
Throwaway word?
that you need to absolutely capitalize on.
Okay.
Aflac.
Aflac.
You are the Aflac
Correct.
for
overlanders. The funny. Oh, go ahead.
And but I'm saying that when people talk about a startup and oh, we're going to be the Uber of, we're going to be the Airbnb of, you actually are the Aflac of. So I think that's something that you can really capitalize on, whether it's in your marketing or something, that kind of messaging.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
also we need a contact slide out there. So all right, questions. We're going to start with Jim.
So Sam, have you thought about talking to companies like Bass Pro Shops or LLB?
Absolutely.
Right, places where they're catering to the people you want to deal with.
Absolutely. So we've been talking with the REI Venture Fund and actually getting distribution through them. Yeah, lots of partnership meetings happening. Absolutely.
Great story to start with your numbers though. The basis for this, how do you know what you're risking?
Great story. Great question. So our team, Paul and Jason. So every insurance company has to file their rates. And so what these guys did, Paul here is he's been a Progressive forever. He's really good at it, and Jason. So they went through all these rate filings, all these tables, and they basically found a way to calculate the risk for what we're doing now. We wanted to build out the company, and we built the entire tech stack because of my technical background. We were going to try to buy something like Duck Creek or one of these expensive insurance backends that you have to buy into. They're like a minimum of $1 million a year, and so we didn't have the money. So I basically built it. And so we built our own rating table, and by doing that, we're able to really iterate on those rates. So we spent a lot of time, we looked at the actuary numbers, and Tokyo Marine spent a lot of time going over our numbers. That was part of the due diligence for the last 5-6 months. We believe we're very accurate based on like travel trailers, like some of these other programs. We just have adjusted the pricing on it. And as we go out live, we will continuously look at the loss and then take the data that we have and adjust the prices. But yeah, very good question.
I have about 1,000 questions, but
Sure.
great presentation. I actually work in insurance tech. Have for the last 10 years building
great.
policy management software.
Oh, great.
So I'm sure you know how complicated the space is, all the different relationships you have to manage, compliance and things like that.
Absolutely.
It sounds like you build your own policy management backend.
Which system do you work for?
Well, it's compliance and connecting.
Gotcha.
So this initial investment as creating something for this one market, or can you commit to others? Because I feel like off-roading is kind of, it has a certain number of people who do that.
Mhm.
Would you then move into something else, or?
Yes, so that's the eventual growth period. This is our land and expand market, and specialty 4x4, travel trailers, camper vans, adventure bikes, and then, you know, so since we've built the product and we have like kind of this line in the specialty, that's where one of our big expansion partners.
And then one follow-up. Manage the policies over time. So if like an opportunity to requote somebody comes up, is that something that you're building in?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
For your question?
Yeah, I love your concept and structure a distribution method. First of all, which is the most popular vehicle that they like to bang out for off-roading?
I mean, Toyota's very big in the space, Range Rover, Jeep, Ram, I mean, they all have their own camps, right?
Right.
If you're a Jeep
So
guy,
have
you're
you
probably
talked to the dealerships in those networks? Because the dealerships is probably where you're going to think with the book. They're always looking for an add-on. That's where they buy, they sell the extended insurance you probably never will use or never need vehicles. But that's where I think you can play the biggest. Talk to the dealerships, and they're private. Nationwide, you know, and get that distribution through the dealerships.
Yep.
And then
Somebody
other
with
dealerships
from
want to do it.
with
They
Ford
want
on
to
your
talk
team, right?
So yeah, so there's a specific group of upfitters in Utah that's one of the ones we're really focusing on to go out with them as well. Yes.
You mentioned campsite, campground, for the future, what was that about?
So campsite, from an insurance, if you want to, so the insurance side of it, right? There's no liability, which is good. So one of the most expensive things in insurance was, and again, I have no experience in insurance except for like the last year, I've had a crash course, but liability is dangerous, right? So the insurance landscape right now is very difficult. Last year it was, people are amazed that we've gotten capacity and got someone to get behind us for a new program because insurance has been so tumultuous over the last year. Liability is like you get in an accident and you're injured and then you have $1 million in medical bills. Like that's the liability aspect. We're just the property, the damage, right? So we don't have that much exposure, right? Is what they say in insurance. Eventually we will do some type of policy like campsite liability, just creative ways to help insure and create these type of instruments, but not until we actually see some numbers and have some money to be able to back.
And when you said crash course, was that a joke?
No, it wasn't, but I like it.
In that liability, is there anything with the add-ons, the upfits that, where there is some liability, like let's say something comes off?
Right, so that would end up being the primary insurance. I mean,
that still falls under?
Yeah.
Under there with that?
All the
okay.
primary stuff, yeah.
Fair?
So your insurance is pretty much towards accessories.
Yes.
That's what it really comes down to. Dealerships put together, right, I think you can upsell. Now, one final question, did you buy a Tesla again?
I did, actually. I looked all over.
Have you looked at the tuner market? So I know a lot of people that buy cars for $25,000 to $30,000 new, and then put another $50,000 to $100,000 into them for performance.
Oh, the street racers.
That's a huge. SEMA is a massive method, and that's a show you need to go to anyway.
We did, yeah. We went to SEMA last year.
Right.
So we've thought of that market. The problem is that one, the risk. So we can dial in the risk for the overlanders a lot more than we can. Eventually, we'll start getting more data and figuring out.
Invisible.
Because those things are raced and there's a lot of wear and tear on those, and then it becomes more of a question of, because they're replacing the actual parts within the car. It's easier for us because most of this stuff is a modification on top of it. But yes, that's definitely a market we're considering. That and the lifts. That's huge here in Florida. People spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on those giant truck lifts. You see them everywhere, and those people baby those trucks. They're not going to go roll those, for the most part.
So on the coverage with this, so are you just covering if they get in accidents or like, somebody attached it wrong and it blows off the truck and damages it.
All those
How
things,
does that?
sure. So, again, we ride second seat on the policy, because we're like an umbrella, we're like an Aflac, we fit over their policy. If your car is damaged or something stolen while you're driving, that's, we cover the aftermarket accessories. The difference being, one of the key differences, if you go off-road, for a certain period off of road, your insurance company will stop covering you, but we'll still cover your modifications. We still don't cover the vehicle, but we will cover you off-road wherever you go. So if you tip your vehicle and say your insurance won't cover it because you're doing something crazy on the trails or something happened, you'll still get the coverage from us for the gear, you just won't get the
The quoting process, is that digital, or is that like an in-person interview kind of thing?
No, it's amazing, actually. So we've been, with my technical background, we've been spending a lot of time refining that. We've got a staging server, so if anyone here is interested, reach out to me. We need beta testers and people to go hit the system, but it's a really nice process. It happens all through mobile. You get quoted, you get bound right there. We're integrated with Stripe. And you get sent straight into an admin panel where you can then upload photos, and you can then take and create a profile eventually and then post that profile live.
Do the users have a choice between carrier, or do you provide the product?
So we're only on top, so you have to have underlying coverage. So when you go through the process, we inform you that you need to still have a Progressive, a Geico, whoever, USAA, as your main policy, and then we have you upload your deck page so we can verify that. That's part of the binding process for us, and you have to maintain that.
You want to pay for me tripping out my expedition? And then I'll go through your whole process, and I'll promote you to the ends of the earth. All right, do we have any other questions for Sam?
Okay. Are you open to it in the future, adding your own underwriting, if it wasn't as complicated as they made you think it is to create a stream?
So we do our own underwriting for the gear. We would eventually, as we grow a few years down the road, it makes sense for us to grow into full-blown auto. We have partnerships now, though, so we're the broker on the deal.
Yeah, it's bond issuance, right? The insurance companies are gonna make 20 times more than you're making. They'll create $1 million bond, they'll sell it on the open market in 20, 30. You add that, portfolio, you have your own. They make it sound so complicated, this type network, but it really isn't. It can be done.
We have a captive. We're putting together a captive, so we get a small portion. We're participating in a small portion of the risk, 10% of the risk, and so eventually we'll grow that. I mean, we're an MGA, so if you're no insurance, right? So you have your carriers, you get your brokers, and MGA is kind of in the middle. We do our own underwriting, and we assume a little bit of the risk. Eventually, we become a carrier. Maybe, it all depends on how it pans out. But yeah, it's definitely not off the table.
Great questions. Great feedback. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Sam.
Let's say it all together.
What can we, as the Orlando 1 Million Cups community, do for you?
You've done a lot for me, coming to these meetings. I've been coming pretty religiously for the past months. I love being here. I love the questions, the feedback, and being part of the community. We still do have a raise, so if anyone's interested in coming in, our friends and family, we have about 200, 300 more K that we're trying to close. But other than that, just keep doing what you're doing, and I love coming.
Great. Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you.
All right. Couple last things. Once again, we're on all the socials. Search for us on your favorite social media with 1 Million Cups Orlando or some iteration thereof, and then talk about us and share your experience and encourage others to join our community and grow our community within the entrepreneurial community here in Orlando and Central Florida. Let's see. I'm going to skip ahead really quick. And Sean, quickly, if you can give a little bit, there's a lot of things going on in this town, so this is tonight.
My name is, those who are new for the first time here, my name is Sean. I'm a mentor and business server. I help a lot of startups, small businesses to survive and succeed. That's what I do. Right now, there's a big thing going on. Tonight is a big night at Rollins College. It's called a college competition. 4 finalists. Started with 57 people, 57 startups, got down to 57 finalists, got down to 4 finalists. These are the 4 room right is Michael White, right here. Be there tonight. Silicon Assurance is from Gainesville, the University of Florida. Pete is from here, and Flow Intel is from here. Flow Intel and Silicon presented here, by the way. Twice.
And Pete.
And Pete.
Yeah, and Pete. Twice. So I want you to know they started here. And they are, so all are amazing. So,
And Michael works here.
Michael right here next door. He's shy a little bit. I told him, pull it down. Please, no, he's amazing. So I spent with them as late as 11:30 last night, helping everybody. I feel good about it. So it will be nice if you guys can attend.
What time is it?
It starts 6 to 8 o'clock. It's like a military precision, you won't believe it. These guys are getting only 10.5 minutes. Pitch for 8 minutes, but only 3.5 minutes question and answer. It's not good. Last minute they changed it. So, but they're rising to the occasion. I feel good about it. They're all well prepared, so you will enjoy it. Root, please. Okay. Thank you very much.
And I'm gonna.
What's the location of the?
So it's at Rollins College. If you look up Crummer Pitch Competition 2024, you'll find the information on there. We didn't get a slide with that. I do want to say thank you, Sean. There are a number of pitch competitions, a number of VC funds give opportunities for folks to come in and give their pitch. What we as 1 Million Cups are striving to do is be that place where entrepreneurs can come in and they can practice their pitch. They can put it out in front of a live studio audience and get some feedback on, okay, maybe this part of it wasn't very clear. Maybe, there's a slide that you're missing that could give that information a little bit better. We don't understand who your market really is. We don't understand maybe your business model. And so it gives you an opportunity to get some feedback and maybe improve those slides before you go into one of these competitions. So that's a lot of what we want to offer to people who are up here. Again, you being in the audience, you get to learn about what these things are and new entrepreneurs, new products coming to market, new exciting things. But you also get that opportunity to give a little feedback or to see someone else getting feedback. And maybe you're not ready to give your presentation. Maybe you're not ready to come up here yet. And that's okay. But you get to see that in a very, very, like I say, a very safe, a very low key, low stress. If there are any investors in the room, please don't raise your hand. That's not what this room is about necessarily. So it's more for entrepreneurs to get an opportunity to educate an audience and to get some education back. So we really want to stress that. We really appreciate everybody coming. Hopefully you've gotten something out of this and you'll come back and participate, join our community, and eventually we'll love to have you present. So we ask that you connect with somebody. There are coffee shops and snack shops and restaurants and libraries and park benches and all sorts of stuff that you just sit down with somebody that you met today and have a conversation, and maybe there's an idea that you've sparked that you could grow and expand on, or maybe you know somebody who could help this person. Maybe you can have some impact on something that somebody is working. I would ask that if you are going to offer up help to somebody that you've met here, you start off with asking them a lot of questions. Don't assume that you know everything and you can just hand over, here's my 80 years of experience and I'm going to bleh onto you. No, don't do that. Ask them questions. Learn what it is that they're working on. Learn what it is that they're struggling with and say, oh, I can't help you with that. Or this other person can, or this other organization can, and help them find the right vehicle so that we can build the entrepreneurial community here in Orlando the right way. It isn't just about, hey, I've got this and I can sell you that. That's not what we're about. We're about, hey, you're you're obviously struggling with this kind of thing, so maybe we can put you in touch with this organization or that. There's a lot of support organizations, a lot of they're called ESOs, Entrepreneurial Support Organizations. There's a lot of them in this town. And they're all great in their own lanes. So if you're in one and maybe you're not getting what you want, ask questions. We really, really encourage you to ask questions, whether you're having a conversation with somebody or you're looking for help. So if there's anything that you need, talk to one of us, and if we can put you in the right direction, we'll do our best. Again, go and meet up with people. We do not have any presenters on the books next week, so we've got a few that have applied and we're kind of in process, so hopefully we'll be knocking that out. But if you have applied at 1millioncups.com, we encourage you to take the next step forward to get into the line to present and get yourself scheduled. If you haven't, we encourage you to go to 1millioncups.com, at least register. Get on there and you'll get some information from us and look over the website, get to know the Kauffman Foundation a little bit, and then if you're wanting to apply, there's a way that you can do that on the website, and if that's not clear, then you can get in touch with us and we'll help walk you through that process. And we thank you all very much. I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes back this week. So we thank you and we look forward to seeing you next week.